What's happening, Tilray traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the pursuit of wealthier home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today is Tuesday. It's April 4th. Hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the stock Tilray Brands, ticker symbol TLRY. And we're going to be discussing analyst estimates. We're going to go over what to expect for their earnings that is coming up next week on April 10th after market close. Before we get to it, though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe. Tick the bell to be notified on any future videos or when I go live. I'm going to go over some analysis as well. I'll give some thoughts and opinions on the chart and what to expect in the days and weeks ahead. But as I mentioned, we do have Q3 earnings coming up on April 10th, and that'll be after market close. So we'll go over the analyst estimates as well and numbers to keep in the back of your head. So when those earnings do come out, we should get a reaction to a beat or a miss. But essentially, a lot of the whole sector is going to be looking at Tilray Earnings because Tilray is one of the leaders in the space. I'm not expecting it to move the needle too much. If we do see any reaction to the earnings, I think Tilray has the potential to move the most. I don't think it's really going to move the sector. Either way, maybe a few percentage point. I'm not expecting multiple percentage points of a move in the rest of the sector. Maybe in Tilray itself, depending on how bad it misses or beats. But I'm not expecting it to move the whole sector. Not yet anyway, because of the fact that the whole sector is still in a bear market, right? We've got US producers, we've got Canadian producers, retailers, ETFs, all down 80 to 90% plus from February 2021 highs. So before that changes, we're going to need a sector-wide catalyst, and that could be, legalization of medical in the US. We know that Germany is set to come online very, very soon. We could see a bill introduced in really any day now and any week with regards to German recreational legalization. So that's going to be huge. Germany is going to be a massive market. We know that Tilray is partnered with Hexo for that market, and they're number one. I think the average market share there is around 20 to 30% for Tilray, and that market's going to be huge. It's double Canada, and like I said, it's going to be a pivotal country in the adoption of this industry and really going to start a domino effect, in my opinion, because we're going to see the rest of the EU. And as we know about the United States, they're never first, they're never last. So once we start to see the rest of the EU follow suit, I think it's just a matter of time before the domino falls over to America and the United States. So one thing I wanted to mention, I did put out some videos. We had some positive news yesterday. The NBA will now let players promote, invest in, and consume MJ. And I also did a video on some 280E changes. So New Jersey's looking to drop 280E tax code, and that's going to be monumental. Again, another step in the right direction. So if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to check that out. And we know that the MJ Act here in Canada is under review, and we know that Justin Trudeau has said, the Premier of Canada said that it's time for the Canadian government to catch up to the MJ industry. So things are starting to trend in the right direction, in my opinion. Like I said, Germany is set to come online as well. So everything, I think 2023 is going to be a pivotal time for the MJ industry, and it's time to shine, really. So as I mentioned, Tilray Brands to announce third quarter fiscal 2023 financial results on April 10th, 2023, as you can see here from Global Newswire, and that will be after market close. And then there's going to be an audio webcast as well at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which can be accessed at Tilray's website at tilray.com. A replay will be available and archived on the company's website as well in case you are not able to attend that. So in terms of analyst estimates, what are we forecasting here? It says April 5th here on investing.com's website, but again, it's April 10th after market close, so it just hasn't updated. But in terms of analyst estimates, we're expecting negative 0.0709 for EPS, earnings per share, and this is in Canadian dollars as they report in Canadian, and the revenue is going to be 201.86 million forecasted. And something I wanted to make everyone aware of as well as that Canadian adult use MJ sales were down 7.1% monthly to 395.5 million in January. So we are starting to see sales slow a little bit. So this could increase the odds that Tilray potentially misses their earnings. We know that they missed on last quarter's revenue as well. It was forecasted 210.58 million. They came in at 192.63 million, and pretty big miss there in terms of EPS as well. So we'll see if we can bounce back from that last quarter miss, but at the moment it's not looking too good because of the fact that the Canada MJ sales have started to slow down. But one thing to keep in mind is we do have 420 coming up the week after that, so that'll be on Thursday, and that should obviously for the next quarter that's going to increase that those sales, right? So as we know, 420 is a massive day in the industry. And this is going to be for period ending in February coming up. So Q3 will be for the period ending in February. And then we'll have March, April, and May on the next quarter. So like I said, 420 will fall under Q4 2023 fiscal earnings, not Q3. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for. Something that I wanted to mention as well, if you haven't already tuned into this, I did an interview with Hexacorp's CEO and President Charlie Bowman, and as well as the CFO Julius Ivanitz. I did a video on that, like I said, with those two, and I did a component on Tilray. As we know, we have Tilray and Hexo have a strategic alliance. So if you go down here, just click on timestamps, you can go to the 41 minute, 27 second mark, and we go over some questions with regards to Tilray Brands. We'll see if there's anything that comes out of the earnings call as well, or any of the press release. If they mention Hexo, there's some speculation that Tilray could potentially be buying Hexo, and that could happen realistically any month now. I was basically hearing rumors that it could happen in a few months, and that was back in January. So we'll see, maybe sometime in April, maybe sometime in May, June, we could potentially see Tilray pull the trigger and actually buy Hexo. So I asked that question in that video, and basically Charlie alluded to the fact that it's, a Tilray decision. So we'll see if they decide to, to convert their convertible debt. We know that MedMen, Tilray has convertible debt in MedMen as well. So not only Hexo, but MedMen, that could be a powerhouse in the making. So we'll keep an eye out for that to see whether or not there's any updates with regards to the Hexo partnership, and whether or not we could potentially see a merger or acquisition in the future. And then in terms of EPS estimates in US dollars, we're expecting negative 0.052, and estimates for revenue in US dollars is 150.052 million. So I did want to bring up the chart here. It's not looking that great leading into earnings, but as we know, if we pull back quite a bit here into earnings, we don't need that big of a beat to really see prices go, get some decent momentum to the upside. Because if we see price start to pull back and then we have a pretty big beat, then price can explode to the upside quite easily, right? But if we run into those earnings and we miss, then the same thing on the reverse side. So we'll see how we run into these earnings. Right now, we've only got 5 trading days left before the earnings come out. And right now it's multiple inside bars on the weekly time frame. So we're tightening up. Key support is going to be at 247 and resistance at 264. If we lose support there at 247, we start weekly consolidation and we look for a potential weekly trend change. But we don't have a whole lot of room here for a higher low to form and then a higher high. And then if we break resistance there at 264, we start the weekly bounce for the first time in a couple of weeks. But like I said, right now it's not looking too hot because we are forming a weekly bear flag at the moment. We have the high, low, lower high, and lower low. So in order to confirm the weekly bear flag, we need to lose support there at 228, which is the all-time low. If we lose 228, we confirm the weekly bear flag, and this is in US dollars. I'm charting it on the NASDAQ. So if we lose 228, that's going to confirm the weekly bear flag, and we'll be targeting a measured move. So the measured move, you just take from the high to the low, and then you move it out to the 0.32 fib. And then it's targeting about 175 USD here. I know this isn't what people want to see or hear, but this is exactly what this channel is about, just telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And unfortunately, this is just what the charts are saying, right? Don't hate the messenger. I'm just basically looking at the chart and telling you what I see. And what I see right now is further downside continuation in this bearish bear flag. Bull flags are bullish and usually in an uptrend, and then bear flags when we were in a weekly downtrend like this, and we can't get above that 0.32 fib there at 278. Anything under that is a potential for a weekly bear flag. So if we get over 278, that's going to negate the odds of this bear flag. So that'll be key resistance going forward, in my opinion. But like I said, it's not looking good at the moment. So key support is going to be 228. That is the support to be watching for. And all-time low is if we lose that, then we confirm the weekly bear flag and we're targeting 175. I did add Tilray to my TFSA here in Canada. We got an extra $6,500 contribution room. I did max out my contribution room for 2023. I actually added Cureleaf and topped that up to my full 6,500. So I'm going to be looking to add Tilray. I've already got a decent position in Tilray, full disclosure, and I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only, obviously not financial advice, but I'm going to be looking to add Tilray 1 or 2 more times, and I'm going to be adding it to my RRSP, which is my retirement account, now that I've maxed out my TFSA. So I think, tons of room in the RSP, and I think that's what I'll be doing for the next purchases on Tilray, and could look to add that, like I said, as we look to potentially form a weekly higher low and then potentially confirm a weekly bear flag. I'll be looking to just dollar cost average into my position. I think I've got an average of around $354 USD on Tilray. So like I said, I'll be continuing to add that and just plan for the fact that we could potentially see Hexo be bought out by Tilray. That's a very possible outcome, and I think it could happen very, very soon. I said when the strategic deal, the strategic alliance and partnership happened, I said it more than likely wasn't going to happen anytime soon because of all the synergies, and it was going to take time for them to get everything, all their ducks in a row. They obviously have to sort out all of those synergies and working together. And that was going to take up a lot of time and effort. So I said at least a year or two, but I'm not expecting a merger. Personally, I wasn't in the camp that they were going to merge, but at the moment it's looking more and more like they could. And we'll see. I think there's about a 50% chance that they either join forces or they remain two public independent companies. So I'm just planning for both scenarios. Obviously, none of us have a crystal ball, so we don't know for sure. But all we can do is prepare for all scenarios, right? That's the name of the game. So not great here on the weekly chart, but unfortunately it is what it is, and we can prepare for markets can go up, down, and sideways. So as long as we prepare, right? And I did a video as well on how I am preparing for one of the biggest market crashes in history. I would encourage you to check that out as well if you haven't seen that yet. And like I said, markets can go one of three directions, up, down, or sideways. So in that video, I describe, I have a big position in MJ. I'm very long in MJ, so I go over how I'm planning for a market downturn, how that's going to affect MJ, and what I'm doing to protect my MJ portfolio in the event of that happening. So in terms of the weekly time frame, we are pretty bearish here on the weekly macros. We're still below the 10-week moving average. We did have a bull cross of the stochastic, but the MACD is still bearish. Could see a bull cross here over the next couple of weeks, but we're still bearish on 2 out of our 3 macro indicators here on the weekly time frame. We're also still rejecting at that 50 weekly there at 343. So if we can get a weekly candle close over that, that would be a huge momentum shift, as we have yet to close above it ever since we lost it as support and confirmed the bear market and monthly and weekly downtrends after the highs of February 2021. So that'll be a key aspect on the chart to be watching for. One thing I want to highlight here as well is that we're still quite a ways away before we see a golden cross. We had the death cross. Last time we saw a golden cross, price was at around $8, ran all the way up to about $67. Then we had a death cross with the 50-day above the 200-day moving average, and the price was at around $12, and then we went all the way down to the all-time low there. Like I said, what was that level? 228. So now we're seeing a potential golden cross again. As I said, the 50-day average is at 280 and the 200-day moving average is at 329. So we're still a ways away before we could see those cross. Realistically, I think it could happen over the next 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 1 to 2 months, but we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Obviously, that's going to take a whole sector-wide catalyst, whether it be mergers and acquisitions, whether it be medical legalization in the U.S., whether it be any kind of legalization progress. Germany will continue to monitor that, but we do need a sector-wide catalyst. So let me know in the comments below what you think of these earnings coming up. Do you think they're going to beat? Do you think they're going to miss in terms of analyst estimates? Always love hearing from you. It's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care. Share the video with anybody that might find value, and smash the like before you leave today. I would appreciate it. Take care. See you in the next video.